Well, so at this point, once we have understood why it is so important to have a good fingering and how can we change, how can we make some changes to have the strongest the strongest finger as much as possible. Now we have to play this piece hands separate with the correct rhythm. So we are going to start very slowly. Let me remind you that we have removed the tempo indication. So now we are going to try this to play like an exercise. So it will we are going to use a very slow tempo, a very slow time, a very slow speed. So something very important that I want to point out is that I'm sure that you remember that in the previous lesson we tried a very important exercise, and that exercise was about singing the notes. Of course, it was not exactly singing, but with the terms to sing, I mean that we were saying the names of the note with the correct duration. So saying I mean reading the notes with the correct duration and names, and at the same time we were keeping the time by hitting the desk with the pencil. So we will doing this. We will singing the notes and keeping the time. So now we're going to do something very similar at the piano, because of course when we play these notes, we will use of course the same duration as we did in the previous exercise when we were singing, and of course we are going of course to use also the correct pitch. And it was like in the previous video when we were saying the right names. So the problem is that now when I'm trying to of course to play with the correct rhythm at the piano, now I want again to keep the time, but of course I cannot use I cannot hit the desk with the pencil or hit something with the pencil, because I have to use my hands to play the notes, the keys. So how can I do this? We are going to keep the time using our voice, so counting the beats, so counting 1, 2, 3, 4, since of course we have a 4/4 tempo indication, okay, tempo signature, sorry, 4/4 time signature, okay. So now I'm going to show you how to do this for the first four bars. So you will see how I'm going to play the notes, the keys, with the correct rhythm, so with their correct durations, and at the same times I'm going to keeping the time by counting all the beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, I'm counting always the 4 beats. I'm counting beats even if I have some rests. So even if in the second and in the fourth bar, I'm counting. I'm always counting I'm counting beats. Okay. And it is very important to get used to do this, so to count beats while playing, because in this way we will be able to keep the time without accelerating or slowing down. This is something very important. And so you can choose the time, the speed that you want, but it has to be always that speed from the start from the beginning to the end. So if you choose one speed, you have to keep always that time. You have not to accelerate or slow down. Okay. Well, so at this point, before I show you how to play this piece at the piano, how to play hand separate this piece, Now I want to point out 5 very important things about these steps. So the step about the hands separate. The first one that is that when we play hands separate, so in this step, we have to use the right fingering. So once we have choose the fingering that is the best for us, we have to use always the same fingering. So I don't have to use one fingering, for example, for the first time I play this piece, and then on the second and I change the fingering. No, it is very important that we use always the right fingering. The second thing that I want to point out is that we have to use a very slow time, a very slow speed. It is something very important. So if you start too fast, if you start playing too fast, it will be not as good as if you try to do slowly. Because this is in this step, hand separate step, we can call it, we really have to play slowly. The third step is about why do we have to play very slowly. This is because we have to use the correct technique. So we are playing this piece. We are playing hand separate, but it is like an exercise. I mean that even if we are playing music, we really have to use the correct piano technique. So the shifting of the weight from our fingers to another. So I have to lift my finger and then then I let fall it down, and so on. So the correct piano technique, even if I'm playing a piano piece. Okay, so and since you are playing it slowly, it will be very easy. It will be easier for you to use the correct piano technique. Okay. The fourth step, the fourth thing that I want to point out is that we have said that we have to count beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So for the first time, when we start learning this piece, so for the first period, for the first month, and so on, we can do it aloud as I did it before. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. But as we go on with the study of this piece, it is better that we try to do not aloud, but it's better that we only think of the of counting. We only think about the different beats, about the 4 beats. So we don't have to count always aloud, but always for the first period. Then in a second moment you can try to do it in your mind. Okay, and then we come to the fifth thing that I want to point out, and this is something which is a very common fault. Is to memorize all the notes, so that you read all the notes and you say okay, there is C, D, E, D, E, F, and so on, and then when you play, you look, or maybe people who get this mistake, this fault, take looking only at the keyboard. So and this should be not a good idea. I mean, to memorize all the notes and then playing them looking only at the keyboard. So we really have to develop from the beginning the skill of reading the notes on the sheet music, but of course when we want, we can look at the keyboard. So we have to do these 2 different things at the same time. So we can play, but at the same time we can read the notes. So it is very important that we pass from these 2 different things through different activities, we can call it. So I for example, in a certain moment, I can read the notes while I'm playing. So for example, now I'm playing and I'm reading the notes on the sheet music. Now, when I want to move my hand, I'm going to look at the keyboard so that I can check if my hand is in the correct position, the right position. And then I get out again to the sheet music so that I can control the notes. I can check the notes if they are correct. Then again I can take a look at the keyboard. So I have to change. I have to switch, we could say, from these two different activities, from these two different things that we have to do. So it is very important that we never only read the notes and never only look at the keyboard, because if we only look at the sheet music, when we have to move our hands, maybe it should be quite we will be more likely to make mistakes, of course, because we cannot check if we are in the right position. Okay, but if we only look at the keyboard, if we forget some notes, we cannot take it, we cannot check, we cannot find the right note. So it is very important that we start develop this skill, which is switching from looking at the keyboard and reading the notes on the sheet music. Okay, and of course, as usually, it is only a question of practicing. You only can develop this skill by practicing a lot. Well, so now I'm going to show you how to play the the right stuff, and I'm doing it as we said before. So counting beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, now you can. Now we are. It is your turn, and so you have to pause the video and try to do it the same as I did right now. So pause the video and play the right stuff. Well, now at this point we are going to do the same for the left hand. Okay. Now of course I'm starting with a whole note rest, so I'm counting only the 4 beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, again, pause the video and try to play the left stuff on your own.